Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to a festive episode of Nick's Veggie Patch. Yes, it's the Christmas period, so nothing much has been happening down here at Nick's Veggie Patch. I sowed some broad beans and some peas last week. They are germinating, so they'll hopefully be ready shortly to go out into the garden, into our new raised bed we built this year, or the wife built. But there's lots of things that have been happening, lots of things that I want to show you today in this short video, and to talk about what's going to be happening for next year. So I'll come back to you guys in a minute. Okay guys, one of the things that I wanted for Christmas this year were 2 new t-shirts that said Nick's Veggie Patch on them, but also had the YouTube symbol on them. I've already got 2, but they're fading slightly. I've got a white t-shirt and a grey t-shirt that say Nick's Veggie Patch on them and the YouTube symbol. But I wanted 2 new ones, and the wife found a website that just does t-shirts with logos on. You could choose a logo you've seen and add whatever you wanted onto it. So yeah, that's what the wife's done. She's done me a black t-shirt and a red t-shirt. Now, I have been in the black one. You'll see that at the start of the video. I am going to put it back on, but yeah, this is what I wanted for Christmas. 2 new t-shirts, and the wife has got them for me, so I'm really happy with them. I just thought I would show you them as they are, so you get a better view of them and a look at them. So I'm going to pause the video, put the black one back on, hang the red one up, and then show you what else I got for Christmas that has really made me excited and looking really positive for the new growing season. So giving me that extra oomph to carry on doing what I'm doing. But I'll come back to you in a minute and show you what other bits and pieces I've got. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to show you guys is another thing I got, well, I say for Christmas. It was a treat, obviously, and this is called a soil blocker. So basically what it does, you go out into your garden, find a good patch of soil, make sure it's weed free and potentially no worms. Even if there is worms in it, it doesn't matter. And then all you do is you fill this with your garden soil, and then you press it down, pull it up, press it down, and what it does, it basically makes you a little square block, and these little plastic things on the end here, they're basically like a dibber. So you would fill the soil in, it makes a block, but then at the same time it presses in a hole into the soil block. Now you get different sizes, so that's obviously the large size to make a large hole, but then you also get with it smaller sizes to make a smaller size hole. Now this also comes with 3 little nice bits to go with it. So you have your plastic dibber. This will make a small hole in the compost when you're sowing your seeds. That will make a small hole, so you just twirl it around, or you can use the other end to kind of make a slightly bigger hole. You also then get this will prize out your seedlings when they've come up and you're ready to pop them on, and then this just moves some of the soil around it. And then also the third and final thing is this seed dispenser. So it's got numbers on the sides, and they basically tell you what size seed you're going to put into your compost or to the soil blocker you've made, and you just turn the dial, and then basically what will happen is your seed comes out through that hole and then into your compost or your soil blocker that you've made. So that came with the soil blocker. Price wise, very good. It was $7.99 for that version of a soil blocker. You can get different versions, and then these are the extra attachments to the soil blocker, and you get different sizes. So you've got that one being the really small size to make a small hole if you don't want the hole to be very big. You have this one which will make a kind of a big square hole. That one will come in handy if you're going to be preparing things like broad beans or peas. So you get 2 of those with that. You get 4 of those. So there's 4 of those, and then, as I've just said, 4 of the small little ones. If you're doing small seeds and you don't want them to be too deep in the compost or that soil blocker. And as I said, all that there was $7.99. So yeah, that's another new contraption that I will be using this year. But that you can use compost, but having seen a few YouTube videos before I purchased it, it does work better with soil from the garden. Make sure, if you're going to do it with the soil from the garden, as I've said, make sure it's weed free. But also, if you're putting it in a big container, make sure the soil is damp, because it will form a block better. But I say that's another sort of Christmas present, and that will help me out for next year. And I'll come on to the couple of other bits and pieces that I've got for Christmas, is actual Christmas presents, and I'll come back and I'll show you those in a minute, guys. So the next thing I'm going to show you guys is, as you all know, I follow various YouTubers on YouTube, follow their channels, and as you know, one of the fellow YouTubers that I follow, I also go down to his house down at Allhampton in Somerset, Homemakers. So what I wanted to show you is my new calendar for next year. It is Charles Dowding's calendar of vegetable sowing dates for 2026. With that, you also get a little catalogue kind of card. It tells you all about Charles Dowding, all the other various bits and pieces you can get from his No Dig children's gardening book, his No Dig book, Charles Dowding's compost, and Charles Dowding's skills for growing, which I have. It also tells you about No Dig Day and various other bits and pieces. You also get, well, I also got is a postcard of Charles's homemakers, what it looks like when it's all flourishing, because he's a market gardener, sells all of his produce that he makes. Now this year, my wife got me this year, my wife was able to have a message put inside the calendar. So Charles has signed it personally for me, but you could have a message put in there and Charles would write it in himself. So as you all know, I don't eat a lot of vegetables, hardly any. There are certain things I'm trying now that I do like, but Charles has put, happy growing. Your wife says, eat more of the veggies you grow. So yeah, I'm really happy with that one. Obviously, that's the main man himself, Charles Dowding. So that will go up on my study wall here. And I've already got, obviously, calendar that's coming to an end for this year already up there. So yeah, really happy with that one. As I said, I get that. I ask for a calendar every year ever since I've been following Charles, and that happily goes up. This, just so you know guys, this is a calendar of sowing dates, and it tells you everything you need to know or need to know about obviously sowing, seed quality and age, potting mix for trays and pots, transplanting timings, the last and first frost dates, and all about watering seedlings. So generally in the, when you open the calendar for the first month of the new year, which is January, Charles won't have anything on there for you to sow or plant out, because obviously January being a cold year, being a cold month, there's very rarely anything that you should be planting out, unless you're going to be planting out garlic or onion sets. They aren't on January. They are in from, I think, February onwards. But it's basically what Charles has said. If you don't want to eat anything in January, don't excuse me, don't bother growing anything, because he doesn't. It's not the time of the month to start necessarily growing stuff. What he always does say, you do see it on seeds a lot. So most seed packets will say you can say this from January, that from January. But you also have to think about the light quality that's outside, how cold it is, and whether some seeds will not necessarily germinate if the weather's too cold. So, but you can always start your seeds sowing inside, germination inside, with the temperature of your house, because it will be warmer inside if you're starting certain seeds. Like Charles has said, I know I've seen it myself, on certain seed packets. I can give you some for an instance. So I've got some new seeds here that I will be sowing for this year. So some flower seeds, 2 lots, but they're 2 different types of, they're the same type of flower, but they give 2 different sort of shapes. I'm going to be sowing calendula, I think they're called calendula. So these are very good if you have a problem with pests that you don't want to touch your seedlings or your whatever you plant out. But these are also good for pollinators. So I'm going to be sowing them at some point this year. But it's things like tomatoes. If you can see there, it says sow anywhere from January to April. Now, with the cold weather, if you haven't got anywhere in the garden for them to go, I wouldn't be sowing them in January because of the cold weather, and you need the good light to be able to get them to germinate proper. So yes, it might say so anywhere from January through to April, but I wouldn't be sowing them in January. I would probably start sowing these end of March, early April, for when the weather starts to heat up, and these then should germinate properly. So I've got some baby, I'll probably give that a go this year. I've got Moneymaker is a variety that I've sown before. We had that this year, and I've also got Golden Queen. Now these came free with the magazine that I subscribe to called the Kitchen Garden Magazine. They always have lots of good giveaways, and you always get 3 packets of seeds every month. So this one is for January. It's got lots of good stuff. If you haven't already seen it or subscribed to it, I would say yeah, subscribe, you know, get it. It's a really good magazine. It saves you having to go to the shops and buy your seeds. I still do, but you get 3 packets each month, so it's really good. The next lot of seeds that I'll give a go this year are parsnip. This is called Albion. This one obviously says so February to April. So for me, it'll probably be kind of end of February, March time I start sowing those. I've got a chili pepper here. I can't pronounce the name. I'll be giving that a go. Again, that says January to April, but with chilies, they need quite a lot of heat, so I probably wouldn't start the chilies off until the end of March, April time for those, because chilies do need a lot of warmth and heat if you're going to get the best out of them. I've got a variety of Brussels sprouts here called Long Island, and this is a traditional heirloom variety, and that is so March to April, and you harvest November through to January. So yeah, I'm going to give those a go, because the Brussels sprouts that I sowed this year, harvested a few days ago, didn't get very many Brussels sprouts off of them. Got enough to be able to give to my mum because she likes Brussels sprouts. So yeah, there's just a handful of seeds there that I'm going to be sowing for next year. But now what I want to do is come on to one of the main presents. Well, I say a main present. It's a present I bought for myself from with some money that I was given by a lovely lady called Jane, who I help call bingo for on a Sunday night. And as a way of saying thank you for helping call the bingo every other fortnight, she gave me 20 quid, and I've spent it on this lovely little beauty. So this is called the Charles Dowding Dib Popper. So you all know I follow Charles Dowding. You all know I bought his trays. So I've got 3 of these large ones, which is the 60 cell Charles Dowding tray, and he's been talking with the company that made these for him, or he worked in partnership with a company called Containerwise. You can find them online, or you can also find some of their products now on Amazon. And he wanted something to be able to pull his seedlings out without damaging them. You know, as you can see, they've got holes in there, and what Charles was doing, and what I've been doing as well, is using the end of a pencil just to prise them out. So Charles has been working on something for the last few months, and it is called the Dib Popper. He worked on it with Containerwise. If you go onto his YouTube channel, you'll see this. They sent him a prototype to show him what it would look like. And then I believe last week or the week before, when he was showing it off on a small little video he did, he showed you the actual finished article, which is this. Now, this, not only does it fit in like that, so you can, that will prise your seedlings out when they're at the nice height you want them to be. It will keep them in the soil, and it keep them keep them together. And this slides up into the holes underneath. Now, you can also do what he's done, is take a piece of wood. He's used bamboo, and he's joined 4 of these together. So he's got a complete 60 cell one. So they would look like that. One there, one there, one there, and one there. And they would literally pop his seedlings out, ready to be transplanted. But also, excuse me, this is also a compost dibber. So basically, fill your tray with compost, and then you would put that on top of the soil, press it down, and then that would give you your holes. Basically, that would give you your holes in your compost to sow your seeds. It's really good. I'm really happy with this. I was so excited when I found out that he designed this, and then Containerwise did it on a 3D printer, and this is what it looks like. Now, I ordered mine last week. I believe it was last week. This week, this week. Told me it was arriving Tuesday. It's arrived today, which I'm really, really happy about. Originally, I couldn't remember the name of it, so I went onto Amazon to kind of have a look at the name. I could have looked on Charles's own website, and it would have told me. I looked on Amazon. This is now on Amazon, sold out. So they don't know when it will be back in stock. But it's obviously proven really, really popular. And it is now completely sold out. It was about £14 for that on Amazon, but you can also go to Containerwise, which is the official website for Containerwise. You can also get that on Containerwise along with Charles Dowding's trays, but you can get these trays off of Amazon. As I say, this is the 60 cell seed tray, and then I've got the 15 the double cell, which is 15 cells. They're joined together, and then I've got the two smaller. I've got, I believe, 2 of the smaller ones, 4 of the smaller ones possibly, which are also, I believe, 15 as well, but they're single. So yeah, this, and I've also got a large one he designed, which will take things like broad beans, peas, any large seeds that you need to have a deep root. So yeah, these are good for peas. I'll show you the ones I've got in the greenhouse and what's currently coming up in them. But I say that's just a handful of nice Christmas presents that I got this year. If you're thinking of starting your own little vegetable garden or allotment, I would highly recommend these trays and a few other trays that I've got in my greenhouse. These actually, they don't have the name on the side of them, but these are definitely Charles Dowding. They are from Container. Oh yes, they do. So just in the bottom there, you can't see it, but it says Charles Dowding 60 cell tray. These have got a life. These have got a life guarantee of about 15 years, so they'll last for a good 15 years or more. They'll go longer, I would imagine. Made of a new type of plastic. Yeah, really good. So I say that's a few things I got for Christmas. What I'll do now is I'll take you out into the greenhouse and I'll show you what I've sown in the Charles Dowding trays and how they're coming up. So I will come back to you guys in a minute. Right guys, so we're now in the greenhouse, and as you can see in my Charles Dowding seed trays, I've got lots of broad beans and lots of peas coming up. So in the first one here, this is the really big one with the large root trainers that will help the seeds, will give them more room to grow their roots. I've got Aquadulse Claudia broad beans and broad bean Veroma. Then in the 2 trays in the middle there, I've got a variety of pea called Pea Dulce Provence. And then over here I've got two other varieties of broad bean. One is called the Sutton. I can't remember the name of the other one without getting at the back to have a look at it, but as you can see, they're all coming up. These will be ready for a lovely spring harvest. They're not big enough yet to go out into the ground, but I will quickly show you where outside they are going to be going. And that raised bed will need a bit of TLC done to it at the moment, because I've just taken out the last of the broad bean, the last of the Brussels sprouts. But yeah, they're coming on real nicely. Also guys, what I will show you very quickly is two other types of seed trays that I do like to use. Now these here are polystyrene. You can get these in all good garden centres. They normally have plants growing out of these, vegetable plants or flower plants for you to take away. So these ones I get from Long Acres when there's certain things I struggle to kind of grow or sow. So I always have an option of getting some bits and pieces. As you can see, really good depth. You get different sizes of those. So those are what hold the smaller seeds. Well, not smaller seeds, but they're the smaller compartments. And then you get this one with the larger compartments in it. Something I also use, guys, obviously you know I use a lot of pots when I'm sowing things like sunflower seeds and pumpkins, but I also use these mini little root trainers or little seed cells. These have got 12 in total. They're really good for starting off little seedlings, and they do actually work. I sowed a few things there this year in them. I've only got them this year from a garden centre. Saw them, they were £1 a pack. So for a 20 pack it was £1. But yeah, they're really good, guys. They're brilliant. So I'm going to use these again this year at some point. But as you can see, guys, things coming up in the greenhouse, broad beans and peas, and I'll just quickly show you where I'm going to be planting them, or transplanting them, should I say. Right, they're all going to be going out, guys, in our new breeze block raised bed there. As I said, I took the Brussels sprouts out of them a couple of days ago, but I'm just going to give that a rake over, put a bit of compost, tiny bit of compost on top, and they'll be ready once they're tall enough. They'll be going out there. I've got a new sort of cage that's going to be going around it. Going to build it out of PVC piping and attach the wire metal mesh to it. Hopefully that'll stop my cats from getting in it. But yeah, so they're going to be going in there, guys, and that'll be it. But that'll all be things happening after the new year. So that's what's been going on Nick's Veggie Patch, and yeah, hopefully we're going to have a good growing season for next year. Right, guys, that's it for another episode of Nick's Veggie Patch. I said it was going to be a short video. It's turned into a slightly longer video, but that's it for this year. As always, thanks for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching my videos and supporting me throughout the year. I hope you have had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope you have a very happy New Year. And I look forward to sharing more videos with you in 2026. So have a good one, guys. Don't drink too much over New Year's. And I'll see you in the new year for another episode of Nick's Veggie Patch. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon, guys. Have a good new year. Bye for now.